Good morning and welcome to Morning Special, your morning energy. And I'm your special host, 조주연. 7월 25일 Morning Headlines 시작합니다. South Korea reported 65,433 new COVID-19 cases on Sunday amid the spread of a highly contagious Omicron subvariant. The World Health Organization has declared monkeypox a public health emergency of international concern, activating its high-key grain exporting port of Odessa hours after signing an international agreement to reopen ports on the Black Sea and resume grain exports. The Russian central bank governor has warned that Russia will not supply oil to countries that impose a price cap on its oil. A fast-moving brush fire near Yosemite National Park has become one of California's largest wildfires of the year. Evacuation orders have been put in effect for more than 6,000 people. Okay, now let's take a closer look at today's headlines one by one.
South Korea reported 65,433 new COVID-19 cases on Sunday amid the spread of a highly contagious Omicron subvariant.
네, 전염성이 강한 오미크론 하위 변이가 확산되고 있는 가운데 일요일 발표 기준으로 65,433명의 코로나19 신규 확진자가 발생했습니다. 네, 그리고 국내에서 코로나19 재유행이 지속됨에 따라서 오늘부터 해외에서 국내로 입국하는 사람들은 입국 1일차에 코로나19 PCR 유전자 증폭 검사를 받아야 된다는데요. So tell us more about it.
Sure. So with this case number of just over 65,000 on Sunday, that means that Korea has remained under 70,000 cases a day for the past 3 days. However, it should be said the tally for Sunday's cases was at a 14-week high. Generally speaking, Sundays are a low-number day. There were 333 cases from overseas, and that brings us to a total caseload of 19,211,613 cases. There were 146 critically ill patients, up 6 from the day before, and 18 new deaths.
That's right. 그래서 지금 7만 명 이하로 유지가 됐던 그 일수는 그래도 3일 연속이긴 했지만 대체적으로 저희가 토요일, 일요일 그리고 일요일 같은 경우에는 수치가 좀 낮거든요. 그럼에도 불구하고 이 14주차 중에서도 가장 높은 수준으로 일요일을 기록을 했다고 합니다. 그래서 일요일은 대체적으로 검사를 받는 수가 좀 떨어지기 때문에 일요일 수치는 좀 낮지만 안심하기엔 좀 글렀죠. 그리고 해외 유입이 333명, 그리고 총 1,921만 명 정도가 계속해서 코로나19 확진자로 기록이 되고 있기 때문에 아직은 좀 안심하기가 이른 것 같습니다. So I believe that once again we mentioned for those who are coming in from overseas, we do have to take caution because there have been 333 cases.
Yes.
And you do have to take a PCR test the day you arrive.
Exactly, and it's all because of this highly contagious Omicron subvariant, BA.5.
That's right. 뭔가 그 전염성이 훨씬 더 높다고 하는 BA.5 이 변이가 계속해서 확산되고 있기 때문에 좀 더 주의를 요해야 될 것 같습니다. So we also looked at an expression, a highly contagious Omicron subvariant. 전염성이 강한 오미크론 변이라는 건데요. Can you break it down for us a little bit?
Sure. So we talk about a subvariant is we have a variant of COVID-19 and we've had quite a few over the past few years. And then it's a variant of the variant, which makes it a subvariant. And here, highly contagious. If something is contagious, it's an illness or virus that is easily spread. So if it's highly contagious, it spreads really, really quickly and really, really easily.
That's right. Contagious, 전염성이 강한 강하다라는 건데 여기서 또 하나 쓸 수 있는 단어가 transmissible. You can also say that that's also a word for contagious.
Yes.
All right. Can we read the headlines one more time, please?
South Korea reported 65,433 new COVID-19 cases on Sunday amid the spread of a highly contagious Omicron subvariant.
All right. Then let's move on to the second headline.
The World Health Organization has declared monkeypox a public health emergency of international concern, PHEIC, activating its highest alert level.
세계보건기구 WHO가 원숭이 두창 감염 사태에 대해 국제적 공중보건 비상사태를 선포하면서 최고 경계 수준을 가동했습니다. So can you tell us more?
Yes, by declaring this to be a PHEIC, that means the WHO thinks it's a significant enough threat to global health that there needs to be a coordinated international response. And this is not a decision taken lightly. This is the WHO's emergency committee meeting, then making the recommendation to the Director General, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, who made the statement just a few days ago. He said the global risk is moderate, but the threat in Europe is high because Europe has more than 80% of the world's cases at the moment. It is the epicenter of the outbreak. And the other issue is it's spreading rapidly through new modes of transmission. And they don't understand enough about that. We're looking at 16,000 cases this year, and that's in 70 countries. There have been 5 deaths from monkeypox in Africa this year, but no deaths reported elsewhere.
That's right. 세계보건기구에서 긴급회의를 소집을 하면서 이 PHEIC, 국제적 공중보건 비상사태를 선포를 하게 되었습니다. 얼마 전까지만 해도 사실 이게 이 정도 급은 아니었는데 긴급회의가 소집된 이유 자체도 지금 유럽 내에서는 조금은 위험하게 번지고 있다라는 그런 의견들이 나오고 있었기 때문에 소집을 하고 최고 경계 수준을 가동을 한 것이고요. 지금까지는 코로나19 그리고 폴리오, 소아마비만 이 상태로 유지가 되고 있는데 지금 여기에 이 원숭이 두창 감염에도 같이 포함이 된 것입니다. So 80% of the cases are in Europe. 유럽 내에서의 확산이 지금 좀 위험한 수준이죠. 80%가 여기서 나오고 있고 16,000명 정도가 보고가 되었는데 이게 70개국에 걸쳐서 있습니다. So it's not a global issue, not just yet.
No, but every single country should be aware. You know, Korea, we had one case coming in who was successfully treated, but
right.
we all have to be careful and we have to do our best to prevent the spread of monkeypox.
So a public health emergency, international concern, so PHEIC, 국제적 공중보건 비상사태라고 해서 이게 하나의 통 단어라고 사용을 하시면 되겠습니다. And what are they doing if they're activating its highest alert level?
Well, we talk about alert levels for different things. It could be for diseases. It could be for the weather.
Yes.
It could be for national defense. So we have a lowest alert level, meaning there's not much going on. It's fine. Nobody has to be careful. And it goes to medium, and then to the highest level means we have to be the most careful we have to be. So here they've activated the highest alert level. This is the most they're going to do in terms of telling people you need to be careful. The thing is, the WHO cannot issue mandates.
That's right.
It can only issue guidance and recommendations for its member states.
강령, 그러니까 이걸 강조를 해서 모든 국가들이 이렇게 최고 경계 수준을 가동을 해야 된다라고는 못합니다. 그래서 그것을 강압적으로 밀어붙일 수는 없지만 모든 국가들에게 이렇게 경계를 해야 된다라고 권고를 할 수 있는 상황이죠. Can you read us the headlines one more time, please?
The World Health Organization has declared monkeypox a public health emergency of international concern, PHEIC, activating its highest alert level.
All right, and let's move on to the third headline for today.
Russia has launched a missile attack on Ukraine's key grain exporting port of Odessa, hours after signing an international agreement to reopen ports on the Black Sea and resume grain exports.
흑해의 항로를 마련하고 곡물 수출을 재개하기로 합의한 국제협약에 서명한 지 몇 시간 만에 러시아가 우크라이나의 주요 곡물 수출항인 오데사를 미사일로 공격했습니다. worrying once again. Please
Yes.
tell us the details.
Well, on Friday, there was cause for celebration when the agreement was signed between Ukraine, Russia, and Turkey. And then Saturday, just one day later, a matter of hours later, these Russian missiles hit the Ukrainian port of Odessa. Ukraine said that Russia had delivered a slap to the UN and Turkey with this attack, and that it'll bear responsibility for the failure of the agreement that was signed. The deal was actually the first deal the two countries had made since the war in Ukraine began. And it was going to allow Ukrainian ships to export grain through the waters of the Black Sea, and that Turkish officials would be checking to make sure there were no smuggled weapons in the cargo, and that both countries would not attack port facilities or civilian ships used for grain transport. Russia has already broken that agreement. It hit... two missiles hit the port's infrastructure, and another two were shot down by Ukrainian air defense forces.
That's right. 우크라이나 측에서는 이게 처음에는 대대적인 합의였습니다. 그래서 금요일 날 너무나도 자축을 하는 분위기였으나 오히려 이로 인해서 더 신뢰를 잃었다라고 얘기를 하고 있고요. 그리고 오히려 이 계약 자체가 그리고 합의 자체가 전쟁이 발발한 이후에 처음으로 계약 체결을 한 것이었기 때문에 굉장히 좀 큰 행사였는데 그래서 우크라이나에서 곡물 수출을 다시 원활하게 하면서 전 세계적으로 이에 대한 물가 안정이 어느 정도는 조금 되지 않을까 아니면은 식량 안보에 좀 완화가 되지 않을까 했었는데 그에 대해서 바로 러시아가 이렇게 공격을 하면서 그 합의 자체가 깨진 것입니다. So they wanted to resume grain exports.
Yes, so if we resume something, we start it up again. So we pause and then resume, or stop and then resume. For example, I stop speaking.
And then you resume.
And then I resume, yes.
네, 재개하다라는 뜻에서 resume이 나왔는데요. grain exports 같은 경우에는 이제 곡물, grain이라는 뜻이고 export는 수출을 하다는 것이죠. 한동안 그 항구가 막혀 있으면서 수출을 못 했었는데 그것을 재개할 수 있으려나 하는 희망이 있었지만 그에 대해서도 이제 러시아가 다시 한번 그렇게 반박을 하면서 합의를 깬 것입니다. So let's read the headlines once again.
Russia has launched a missile attack on Ukraine's key grain exporting port of Odessa, hours after signing an international agreement to reopen ports on the Black Sea and resume grain exports.
네, 그럼 다음으로 네 번째 헤드라인 살펴보겠습니다.
The Russian central bank governor has warned that Russia will not supply oil to countries that impose a price cap on its oil.
러시아 중앙은행 총재는 자국 수출 원유에 가격 상한제를 도입하는 국가에는 원유 공급을 하지 않겠다고 경고했습니다. So they are warning countries now with their oil.
Yes, this was given in a briefing on Friday by Elvira Nabiulyina, the governor of the Russian central bank. She says Russia is not going to supply oil to these countries who are going to impose a price cap. It's in retaliation to this proposal by G7 nations that has the purpose, the aim of stripping Russia of energy revenues. The governor said that by doing this, they would spur on global oil prices, increase global oil prices. And this all comes from a suggestion from US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. The thing is, we don't have any details on what this may be yet, but certainly Russia is taking a step forward to say they are completely against it.
That's right. 얼마 전에 G7 nations가 그 정상회의를 가졌었죠. 그래서 Group of Seven, 7개의 선진국가들의 정상들이 합의를 한 것이 우리가 이제 러시아가 계속해서 원유로 인해서 수입이 증가하고 있다. 그래서 국제에너지기구에 따르면 올해 5월 한 달 동안에만 석유 수출로 약 200억 달러, 한국으로 원화로는 약 26조 원 정도의 수익을 올렸다라고 얘기를 하고 있는데 이러한 수익을 어느 정도 원천 봉쇄를 하기 위해서 cut it from the source 하기 위해서 이 Group of Seven nations는 받지 않겠다라고 했었는데요. 그에 대해서 반박을 하는 것입니다. 러시아 중앙은행 총재가 이렇게 얘기를 한 것이죠. 만약에 상한제를 두면 우리는 그냥 원유 공급 아예 하지 않겠다라고 얘기를 한 것입니다. So imposing a price cap, what is that?
Well, a cap, if we think of a bottle, for example, a bottle has a cap.
Yes.
When you put the cap on the bottle, you can't put any more in or take any more out. So a price cap is setting that limit, stopping the price from going above that point.
That's right.
And if we impose something, we put it onto something or onto someone. So we impose a law on a group of people or impose a restriction of some kind. Or if you're at a party, you may feel you're imposing on your host, spending too much time there.
Yes. Spending too much time and not leaving. 네, 뭔가 impose라고 하면은 부과하다라는 뜻에서 사용이 되는 동사입니다. 여기서 price cap라고 했는데 cap은 뚜껑이라고 생각하시면 돼요. 그래서 어떤 용기에다 뚜껑을 덮어두면은 거기서 더 넘치거나 더 부족하거나 할 수가 없는 상황이니까 상한 선을 만들다라고 얘기를 할 때 put a price cap or put a cap on it 이렇게 얘기를 할 수 있습니다. So can we read the headline one more time, please?
The Russian central bank governor has warned Russia will not supply oil to countries that impose a price cap on its oil.
All right, let's go over the final headline for today.
A fast-moving brush fire near Yosemite National Park has become one of California's largest wildfires of the year. Evacuation orders have been put in effect for more than 6,000 people.
요세미티 국립공원 인근에서 발생한 산불이 올해 캘리포니아의 초대형 산불 중 하나로 확산하면서 주민 6천여 명에게 대피령이 발효되었습니다. So another forest fire in California or in this region once again.
Yeah, it's scary to see so many wildfires, and this has become one of the largest of the year in California. It's called the Oak Fire, and it started on Friday afternoon southwest of Yosemite National Park, a park that's famous for its beautiful, huge sequoias, these massive trees that are in danger of being burnt. And by Saturday morning, the fire had already destroyed 10 residential and commercial structures. It had damaged 5 others. It was threatening at least 2,000 more structures. And more than 2,600 homes and businesses lost power over the weekend. 2,000 firefighters plus helicopters, aircraft, bulldozers were all in action, coming together to tame the fire. And a state of emergency has been declared, but the fire is not out yet.
That's right. 계속되고 있는 산불인데요. 이게 캘리포니아 같은 경우에는 매년마다 이런 산불로 인해서 참 고통을 안고 있는데 이번에도 올해의 가장 큰 산불이 발생을 했습니다. Oak Fire라고 얘기를 하고 있는데 이게 이제 그 산불에 대해서 명칭을 불릴 만큼 그만큼 규모가 있다는 거예요. Yosemite National Park 국립공원인데 굉장히 규모도 크고 또 너무나도 큰 그런 산맥과 이런 나무들이 많은데 참 안타깝습니다. It's very sad to hear that Yosemite Park or part of the national park is caught in a brush fire.
Yes, and well, the reason for it is quite clear. They've had very hot weather, they've had very low humidity, and they've got bone dry vegetation. They've had the biggest drought for decades, and this is the big cause. And the really scary thing is that while the Oak Fire was starting on Friday, they were still trying to contain the Washburn Fire, which started nearby on July 7th. It's now about 79% contained, but that fire is still going. So the fire department, or the many fire departments in the counties around, are trying to deal with 2 big fires at once.
That's right. 지금 Oak Fire뿐만이 아닙니다. 그래서 아직까지도 충분히 진압을 하지 못한 Washburn Fire 같은 경우에도 옆에서 이미 진행이 되고 있었고 7월 7일부터 계속되고 있었는데 지금은 한 80%, 79% 정도 진압이 됐다고 해요. 근데 결국에는 원인을 보니 너무나도 고온 그리고 다습한 게 아니라 이게 습도가 굉장히 낮습니다. 습도가 낮고 건조한데 뜨거우니까 계속해서 이런 산불이 발생을 하는 것이고요. 그리고 bone dry vegetation이라고 얘기를 했습니다. I think that this is a very interesting expression because it's bone dry.
Yeah, meaning completely dry.
Exactly.
Think of a bone you might find out in the desert that's been lying there for weeks or months.
Exactly.
There's no moisture left. It's completely brittle, dry. And if it's vegetation like that, ready to to burn.
뭔가 뼈인데 사막에서 오랫동안 뼈가 있었으면은 그 수분감이 다 빠지겠죠. 그래서 뼈가 완전히 으스러질 정도로 건조하다라고 얘기를 했는데 이게 vegetation, 결국에는 식물이 이렇게 건조하다는 것은 조금만 스쳐도 이게 산불로 발생을 할 수 있다는 거죠. 그게 바로 원인이라는 겁니다. 지금 현재 2천여 명의 소방관들이 함께 합류가 되어서 현재까지는 14,000에이커 거의 57제곱킬로미터 정도 규모가 산불로 지금 진압이 되고 있다고 합니다. 그래서 unfortunately, we'll have to keep an eye on that. The expression evacuation orders have been put in effect.
Yes, we put something in effect means we make it happen. In this case, it's the evacuation order for 6,000 residents saying, get out now.
For your safety.
Take your family, take your pets, leave the area.
That's right. 지금 대피령이 발효되었다. 안전하지 않으니까 한 6천여 명의 주민들이 대피를 해야 되는 소동이 벌어지고 있습니다. So lastly, can we read the headline, please?
A fast-moving brush fire near Yosemite National Park has become one of California's largest wildfires of the year. Evacuation orders have been put in effect for more than 6,000 people.
Well, those have been today's morning special headlines.